How do you know it's the right time to write an offer on a property? Is it that you loved it so much that you just want to go ahead and write that offer? That might not be good enough because there are certain steps you need to take before you write that offer to make sure that you are secure and safe through the process. You want to protect yourself, and knowing these steps are going to protect yourself when it comes to writing an offer on a property. So let's jump into it in just a moment. By the way, my name is Zamira Dunnet, and I'm a local real estate agent right here in the GTA, and I'm with eXp Realty. And if you have any questions about the home buying process, you can go ahead and book an appointment with me right there on my calendar. It's right there below. Go ahead and click the link and book a 30-minute consult with me. I will break down every step of the process of buying or selling with you. And if you don't want to book an appointment and just want to pick up the phone and give me a call, my contact information is right there in the description. So go ahead and reach out. I can't wait to hear from you. Now let's jump right into it. Number one, and the most important part is your financing. You want to make sure you already have a pre-approval. And if you are given a full pre-approval, you do not want to go over that number. The mortgage agent or the bank that is giving you this pre-approval has pulled every single number that they can to give you the max budget that you have. Going over that number could really be unsafe. It could get you into a position where you can't get financed because you have gone over the number that the bank has given you. Now, there's a difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. A pre-approval takes your income, your assets, as well as all of your expenses, anything that you're paying, your credit score, they take all of that and put it together. You want that pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. Do not follow a pre-qualification number because that is just a ballpark. I've seen situations where people have followed this pre-qualification number and did not be able to get financing to go through. So you don't want to be in this situation. You want to get a pre-approval and you want to stick to that number. Now, you also want to take that pre-approval number and you want to do your own calculations because you want to make sure you feel comfortable with the monthly mortgage payments you're going to be paying each month. Just because a lender gives you this number doesn't mean you want to spend that amount each month. Who's paying the mortgage? You or the lender? It's you. So you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with those numbers. Number two is figuring out your wants and needs of a property. Now, I'm telling you right now, any home you get is not going to be 100% of what you want it to be. It may be 70, it may be 80. If you get 90, that is amazing. But you want to sit down and figure out what you need in a home and what you want in a home. I always suggest to take like the top 3 things that you really want in a home and hold on to those things. And then make everything else flexible. For example, do you have a dog and you want a big backyard so your dog can go ahead and run around? That is important. You can't negotiate on that because your dog needs a place to go. Yes, you could take him out to the dog parks, but having that backyard is super convenient. Or do you have children and you need the home to be close to schools so that they can walk to school on their own instead of you driving them every day? These things are things you want to think about, figure out so that when you go ahead and look at homes, you're not wasting your time looking at properties that are a 30-minute walk from a school or have no backyard. You want to make sure that these needs that are important, that are at the top of your list, are non-negotiables and part of what you want in your home. And then everything else to be more flexible and easy and not so stressful. Because if you pick too many items that are needs, the process of finding that home is going to be more difficult. So you want to make it a bit more flexible and a bit more fun when you're looking at these homes. Number 3 is to research the market. Hopefully your real estate agent has done that already, but you need to know, are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? Does the property that you're looking at have an offer date? Has the property that you've been looking at been on the market for over 30 days? Is it listed at the price that they want, or are they listing it low to get more offers to increase the value of their property? What is going on with this property or any other property that you're looking at? The information about the property is super important, especially what other properties on that street or in that area have sold for. Just because a seller has listed their property for X amount doesn't mean that is the actual market value of the property. The market value comes from the recently sold properties in the area. So hopefully your agent is already looking into this information, or you have the ability to use apps like my app below called Listed that can give you this information about what properties have sold in the area. So it gives you a better idea of how much the actual property value is. Number 4 is you want to look at this home as your home, but you also need to think about resale value. You can't be going and buying a property that is a condo that has over $1,000 in maintenance fees and then think you can resell that in like a few years, because that $1,000 in maintenance fees is going to increase to like $1,200. I've seen so many properties currently sitting on the market that have over $1,000 in maintenance fees, and they just sit because they are so hard to sell. So you need to think about what your future plans are. Now, if you're going to hold on to that property, upgrade yourself, purchase something bigger for yourself, and go ahead and rent out the property that you had, then sure, why not? But again, if you have over $1,000 in maintenance fees, you have to take that into consideration, because you are going to be paying that every single month. And the tenants aren't probably going to have to pay any utilities in that situation. So if you're calculating that, this is totally another topic, but if you're calculating that, you want to make sure that you are still getting some money in return. So maybe at the beginning, if you are looking at properties and you're like, hey, this property is listed at 600,000, but it has $1,000 in maintenance fees, maybe I can rent that out later. You want to do those calculations today so that you know if it is even smart to move in that direction. But like I said, you want to look at resale value or re-rent value, because what you're going to do in the future with your property is super important. You don't want to be stuck holding on to a property for months on end, unable to buy something bigger or move on because you're stuck with this property, or you can't get it rented out because you want more for the actual rent amount that you should be getting for it, because you want to weigh out the cost of your maintenance fees. You also want to think about location. Are you close to the subway? Are you close to transit in any way at all? Are you buying a home in Timbuktu that now has gone down in value because of how the interest rates have gone up? These things are super important. I always say try to get into the market with something. I'd start with a 1-bedroom condo or a 2-bedroom condo closer to the GTA so that it gains value. You can turn around, sell it, gain some equity, and then go ahead and buy something bigger. But again, you have to think about resale value. And last but not least, number 5, when you're writing that offer, you want to make sure that you have conditions in this offer. There are 3 different conditions you can have. 2 of them are for freehold properties and 1 is for condos. This one only goes for condos, but all 3, if you're buying a condo, and all 2, you want them in this offer so that you protect yourself through the process. Number 1 is a financing condition. I always say to put in that financing condition, make sure you have those 5 or 10 days for the bank to review all your documents, make sure they get a full mortgage for you, pull your credit, make sure everything aligns perfectly, because you don't want to be in a situation where you didn't write a financing condition. You went to the bank, said that you wanted them to approve this mortgage for you. They go ahead, they pull credit, and they see that your credit is too low to be able to go ahead and purchase that property. And now you can't back out from that deal. You are completely stuck. You can't do anything. You are now stressed trying to find ways to get a mortgage. You do not want to be in that situation. If you have that financing condition, you have 5 or 10 days to go ahead and walk away from the deal if the bank comes back to you and says that you are unable to get a mortgage. So that protects you 100%. Number 2 is an inspection condition. That inspection condition is super important. You want to make sure that there has never been water damage in this property. You want to make sure that the foundation is safe and okay, and you don't have to go ahead and get foundation fixed because the property is not standing properly anymore. You want to make sure that there's enough insulation in the attic. A home inspector comes in and checks all of these things for you and make sure you are not buying a property that you're then going to have to cough up 10 to 20 to $30,000 to fix after you've moved into it. This information is super important, and you can walk away from the deal if you find something in the inspection that you don't like. Or you can ask the seller to pay to fix this issue in the property before you move into it because you found it in the inspection. There are so many things you can do with the inspection and make sure that you protect yourself by having one. Now, if you're getting a condo, that third condition that you want in there is the review of a status certificate. The review of a status certificate tells you if there's any special assessments coming up, which means that the condo corporation is going to ask you for a chunk of money for a few months because the elevator broke and they don't have enough money in their reserve fund, which is where they hold their money to be able to pay out for these big issues. So if the reserve fund is down, they would then ask the owners of the units to go ahead and pay a chunk of money each month so that they can build that reserve fund. But this status certificate will tell you that that is coming up. So checking that status certificate gives you information. It also makes sure that the corporation is not going under bankruptcy. There are so many details inside the status certificate that you want a lawyer to review to make sure that you are not putting yourself in a situation where you've just bought a property and now you need to get out and now it's a struggle. You want to protect yourself. So making sure you have all the conditions in an offer to protect you, to make sure that you don't get in a situation that you don't want to be in. Hopefully this video gave you as much information as possible when it comes to writing an offer and the 5 things you want to do before you write that offer, because you need to protect yourself. This is the biggest transaction you're going to make in your entire life, and you don't want to do it blindly. You want to do it with the most amount of information, the most guidance. So if you want that style of information and guidance, go ahead and reach out to me. I provide my clients as much information and as much guidance as possible. And that is literally why I became a realtor. If you also need a pre-approval, my husband is a mortgage agent. His contact information is right there in the description as well. Go ahead and reach out to either one of us. We would love to help you through this process and make it as smooth and as easy as possible. If you like the information I just provided, please go ahead and like my video. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate all the support. I make a video like this every single week, and I make a market update every single month. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys all next week.